Okay, this is going to be okay, just make sure that works. Very good. And kind of a how-to. Alright, so I think we're working. Okay, so that appears to be going. I'm just getting this set up initially because I have like the worst internet in the entire world, and because I have such poor quality internet, I'm not 100% sure how well any of this is going to even come over. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of needle felting, and I'm not sure how much lag there's going to be here. This is the first time I've tested this with cameras, so I'm hoping that it's being encoded and put out as one stream and it's not overburdening my computer. So we'll see how that goes, because I'm playing with stuff. So I'm, again, a lot of testing here. There, that should work better. Spelling is good. Alright, so now that I think alright, I'm gonna have to let this buffer, I think. Let's try. Alright, I'm going to try delaying both of these. Okay. Test. This is weird. Test. We should have about 200. It's going to be a lot of buffering. Test. Should have about test. Okay. Alright, I'm just going to probably go ahead and just start with this because my internet is shitty enough and it is currently raining, and every time it rains, AT&T breaks because I live down at the bottom of the hill on the end of a mile of old copper wire. And it's a small miracle I can get anything done here at all. So I think that's about as much tweaking I'm going to be able to really do. So what I'm just going to do is just go ahead and get started with this. So I'm going to go make probably sheep. Frequently that's what I end up doing, is I make these little sheepies and I sell them for, I usually go about $10 to $20 each, depending on how advanced they end up getting. But this is from wool that I have sheared from my own sheep that I raise here on my little farm. And how I start with the needle felting is I make these little balls. You just kind of, roll the wool into like a ball shape, and then you get a felting needle. This is a specific type of needle. It has little teeth on it, and the teeth take those hairs, and the way that they are is they pull them down and lock them in, and then they're smooth on the way up. So they push them down, and what you try to do is you try to sort of lock in until you get the shape that you're looking for. And this can be kind of a relaxing little crafty experience. So I like to make sheep of sheeps, but I do take suggestions, and I do commissions. So oh Lord, where's that at? What I don't do, I don't know who that is, so we're not going to talk to him. Okay. So anyway, what I'm going to be doing, like I said, I do take suggestions. So if someone wants to commission me to do these, they're usually between $15 to $20 or so before shipping. And I make these here. I'm in southern Indiana, so they're pretty much local stuff. And okay, so now that I have that pretty much locked in, now I'm just kind of locking it a little bit tighter. I'm going to shape that down. we're sharing this to Twitter. Yay, Twitters! Hopefully more people will come. And we can actually have a little chat, because that'd be nice. So, right. So yeah, so what I've done here is, those have been watching, I've made a ball, and now I've locked in that wool so it's one shape. What I'm using here is again, felting needle, and you want a piece of foam that you can stab into, because lots of stabby. One thing that will happen sooner or later if you do a lot of needle felting is you will stab your fingers. Sooner or later, you will end up stabbing yourself. I have bled on several projects. There's not much you can do about it. I can put it on my rubber, my gloves, and it really doesn't matter. You're gonna bleed. Alright, so we have that first little bit. I might do a dog. I really like schnauzers. I have, just because it's not creepy at all, so I'd actually have hair, because I have schnauzers, and they're one of those types of dogs that you have to groom them regularly. So I usually give them baths first, so they're reasonably clean, and then they get dried off and shaved. And for the longest time, every once in a while I would keep some of their hairs for future projects. And you never know. Sometimes it also works really good adding like manes and tails to like briars and things, because I've done customization on those too. But this is Fritz. He's long. Unfortunately, he's long since passed. So there's some Fritz colored hair here. There's some Zoe here. These are from dogs that have since gone on. I know there's actually some people that I was originally saving it, hoping to give it to someone who would spin it and like turn it into like into a hat. So you never know. And there's more Zoe. There's my Zoe. Yeah, it's Zoe and Austin, and might be some Boots in here too, but yeah, it's just clean dog hair. Other felting projects I've done that might be a little bit odd but worked were I did Adrian's beard, Iron Geek's beard. RenderMan had bought it, and I ended up keeping it to do stuff with, so I have also felted that. I just got the skull that we're going to be displaying it on, and it'll be up to RenderMan what he wants to do with it next year. Okay, so there's a nice little fat sheepy body. Alright, then I'm going to go back for some more sheep's wool. I'm going to make a head. So what I'm doing is I've just pulled some sheep wool out of my bag, if there's any excess dirt or anything. See, that would have actually been nice to spin, but I don't spin, so in order to try to recoup some expenses, because sheep's got to be fed, I go ahead and we're going to make a head. So we're going to go ahead and make a head. So I'm just rolling this right now. I'm going to leave a bit of a tail on here, so I have some excess fibers to connect things back, and I'm going to try to get generally that shape that I'm looking for, and then just start locking it in and shaping it. So again, I'm just locking those fibers in. And there's other stuff I'd like to do. I actually was considering when I'm done with this, or maybe tomorrow, doing some more video on just hand drawing stuff. I got this set up. I honestly don't know. I was actually looking at doing that, one of those Patron, whatever the hell they are, things earlier, but I realized after going through my monetization settings on this channel that I'm only 70 subscribers short from being able to open up advanced settings, which would be nice, because I got 2 people that are calling me stupid, like, all the time, like right now. And one, of course, is Sally Mae, because they want money. Hooray. And the other one is the stupid SEO scammers, because I made the mistake of registering another website to use on another project that I think may come in handy, but I'm not quite doing anything with it at the moment. But what we're coming down to is I have got to pay off my student loans, so I'm willing to do tutorials and things, and if people just want to watch and talk, I'm here most of the day. I do a lot of stuff by hand. There's other videos on my site. Remember, they vary. I have everything from how to slaughter and butcher chickens down to how to bake cookies, and then stuff like this, where it's, you know, hand felted projects and things. All right, so now we have a little head. I'm gonna go ahead and attach this head. Again, this is probably just going to be a sheepy sheep. All right, so I want to get where I want it, and I'm going to probably stick that about there. Let's see in the other one. Here are we? There we are. So I'm going to probably put that right about there. And to attach it, again, you just start stabby stabby all the way around. And it doesn't need to be perfect, because there's a lot of blending that needs to go into this. So right now, what I'm trying to do is really just get the general shape done. This almost looks like a turtle, because you'll keep building on this as it goes around. So I'm taking a bit of that tail and I'm going to put it around to kind of get a little more shape of that neck. And these are more cute little figures. So because they're more of a cute little figure, they're not. I'm not as concerned about them being anatomically like correct in any way, shape, or form. If I really wanted to be, I'd probably do a slightly different armature. But right now we just want, you know, just something kind of cute, because they're fun and they're cute. Just like Snorties are fun and cute. I was talking to Iron Geek. We drove up to Gurkon this weekend together, and I helped run one of his video rigs. And while we were driving back down to Indiana, we were discussing doing custom Snorties, because he's already done one and he's working on another one. And I said I'd love to get a bunch of Snorties and just do custom Snorties. And people who came here for the crafting and don't know what a Snortie is, the Snorties are these little piggies for Snort, which is an application used by pen testers. And much like people customized My Little Ponies, we thought it'd be fun to do Snorty customizations. I might get this a little more correct. So you see, if you go really deep and lock them in, you can actually get like defined lines. So just for the heck of it, I'm going to define this little sheep shoulders a little bit better here, and where the back legs would be here. I had done a horse, I guess, 2 derbycons ago when we went down and gave that one away. I don't need to sell more stuff. I do all kinds of stuff. I do tanning and I like crafty things. Crafty things are fun. But Christmas is coming, and I need to pay bills and buy gifts for my own family too, so would love to do trade-off. I also barter. It is not beyond me to do to do work for trade. I actually traded web design for a goat once. Is actually one of my favorite stories to tell. But yeah, I actually did trade web design for my first milk goat, and that's how I ended up with Allie. It's about a $300 value. And call that one even. She's a good goat though. Okay, so we got fat little sheep. It's technical, they have a the next thing, try not to stab myself. That's the one risky thing about doing these, is likelihood of stabbing yourself with this is high, because oh my god, these things are sharp and you don't want to risk stabby. Stabby is not fun. I hope you can even hear me, because I'm not sure how good that mic is, and I tend to speak way too quietly. If anyone's up there on the Twitter and watching, there is a live chat. So you should be able to get into that. Ah, there we go. Okay, good. Alright, I always worry about that, because, like I said, my internet sucks so hard that I never know. And it's raining today. And traditionally, because we're on AT&T DSL, copper DSL, anytime it spits, the internet goes out. So the fact that it's holding up still is actually a small miracle in of itself, as amazingly crappy as it is. Yeah, that was a fun story. I don't know how many people have heard that one. But last time we had the AT&T guy out, we had no internet for like a week and a half. None at all. Nothing. So I couldn't even get my homework done. I'm taking a Security Plus class right now through our local community college. It's technically online, but because internet sucks so bad, I'm up there at the college usually once a week. And so we finally get the guy to come, and this is one of the few techs that actually apparently like knows his shit, which is, it's great when you get someone that knows what they're talking about. And he came and he looked it over and he goes, okay, well, we're down at the CO, which we know where that is, it's down at the general store. And so he's down at the CO and he goes, okay, we're checking it, I should be there in 15 minutes. So he goes down and he looks it over, and by the time he comes to the house, right now I'm making legs, that's what this is, so I'm making kind of like a tube, and I'm going to do the same thing I was doing and kind of fold it over and tighten it down. I'm going to do this 4 times. So anyway, he's down at the CO, and he looks it over and he comes to the house and he goes, well, I replaced your card because this tech was brilliant, because all the other techs, this has been going on for over 2 years, and AT&T has told, you would, wouldn't you? So anyway, so like I said, this has been going on for more than 2 years, and AT&T has told all of our neighbors and everyone in the area that they will not upgrade the lines. They're not adding any more people to the DSL. They're just gonna go to, oh god, how'd they put it? Everyone's gonna be getting the is what the techs had been telling us, and oh well, you know, they bought DirecTV and we're just gonna put you all down to the wireless, and we've been trying to figure this out, going, do you mean cellular, do you mean satellite, or do you mean microwave? So like I was saying, do you mean cellular, satellite, or microwave? Because that's extremely important to know. What are we looking at? Because that's a completely different price point and latency and bandwidth, and as shitty as the DSL is, what are my options? So smart tech, brilliant tech, love this guy, he comes down to the house and he goes, all right, well, I replaced your card. Because prior techs and the company in general had already told everyone that they would not be giving them and had not been giving them any new equipment or replacement hardware, they wrote bad on our card, which effectively like a giant NIC card for people that aren't techie. Anyway, so they wrote bad on the card that was connecting us to, you know, this in the CO 3 times. 3 times on the card it said bad. So Awesome Tech, who was the last guy that was out here, told us, like, yeah, well, you know, they won't give us anything new, but he usually works up in Bloomington, which is the larger city, and he goes, as people are swapping out to the better packages as they become available, he's been pulling the old cards, which is smart. So he's been pulling their old cards that they had on their old DSL packages and kind of just saving them in his truck, because he knows that, you know, as other cards goes bad, then at least he has working hardware he can swap with. So he goes, yeah, I swapped you out with a new card. And he showed us the old card. It literally said bad on it, like 3 different places. And so he swaps us out with a new card, and then he goes, well, let me do some more testing. So he goes around, and it's always fun when we have to call in for tech support, because I'm like, yeah, I've already done that. Yep, yep, I've done it. I've pinged. You know, I've pinged Google, I've checked I've checked the DNS, I've done this, I'm currently running Wireshark just to verify some shit. But yeah, oh god, they hate us. So he goes and he checks the wires, and he does his little, you know, configuring, and he goes, all right, well, we're going to clean this up here, and he gets it between the, you know, the modem and the outside of the house, and he strips and does, and, you know, everything, all the general maintenance shit you're supposed to do. It's like, that's cool. And he's like, well, you're still not connecting right. There's still too much noise. There's still too much on the line. So he goes out to the little the drop box that's in our yard, coming down from the top of the hill. And he checked at the top of the hill, and he checks it down there, and he goes, all right, well, you know, maybe your connects are just dirty, because it's it's still copper. It's data copper, but it's copper. Well, maybe your connections are dirty. So all right, so he goes out there and he opens up the box. And he unhooks it, and he pulls the wire, and he takes his pliers, and he goes to strip the end. You know, you want to take about a, you know, half an inch or so off it, get some clean copper, make sure it's good, and then get it set back in there. As he goes to pull the little bit of rubber plastic off of the tips, 6 inches of copper comes out. 6 inches of copper. Our line hadn't even technically been attached to anything because the wire was broken. So every time it rained or snowed or was too hot, wire would separate and our internet would go out. So he's like, huh, that's no good. So he goes, so they go and they put, and he trims it all the way back and finds a good spot, and you know, properly, you know, resplices the shit. And now, and we've been pretty good. Like I said, it's currently raining, and I still have connectivity. It's not great connectivity, but it's significantly better than it had been. I think we'd went from like 1 meg up and down to now we're getting like 2. Dude, I know everyone's like crying. Like, how do you live like this? It's crazy. It is. It's really stupid. Especially when, just to make things more fun, we have fiber. There's fiber here. There's fiber that goes to the brand new cell tower that just got put in on the highway. And I don't have access to it. So I'm sad. So we've considered all kinds of things. We've gone like, do we put our own wisp in? Can we put our own wisp in? If we do put our own wisp in, is AT&T going to sue the shit out of us because they're known to do that? Smithville has unlit fiber apparently running down the other side of the hill. Doesn't that sound entertaining? Yay. So, and then we have, I want to say Time Warner. Pretty sure it's Time Warner. It's either Time Warner or Comcast. We have a cable run just behind us. The problem is if you call the cable company, I think it's Time Warner, but if you call Time Warner and you tell them, hey, can I get a, can you see if I can run connectivity to my house? Can I get, you know, a hookup? And what the problem is that the way their mapping goes is they look at your mailbox address. Where does your mail go to? And that is how they are figuring where they are going to if they're going to give you a drop or not. Problem for us is we live in the middle of a field. I have a 1/4 mile long driveway. So according to Time Warner, I am over 3 miles or 4 miles from where they have their closest hookup, which is not really true because I'm in the middle of a field, and there is a hookup at our neighbor directly behind us. So even though according to them my mailbox shows me on like Spencer Pike, Springville Judah Road, which is like literally behind us, you can get cable internet, and you can get their high-speed package. I'll wait for this to pick back up again. Alright, so anyway, so as I was saying, so on the other side of the road, you can get the cable internet, you can get the good high-speed package, but according to them you can't, which is silly because the way the utility poles run, we're part of a utility co-op, and our utility co-op actually cuts across the other neighbor's property, so there's actually lines and a pole and all that stuff already there, and because it's a co-op, that means everyone's kind of a joint owner, and one of the execs for REMC is one of our neighbors. So the way I look at it is I'm pretty confident that there's things that could be worked with, you know, that we should be able to get a run, even to the point where it's like, you know, hey, how much would it cost to get one of your linemen out here to help us run cable, or at least to, you know, supervise, or whoever we got to do, or who we have to hire. I don't really care, but you know, what do we need to do to get a run ran? And I don't know, it's just super frustrating. We looked into buying property that was not too far away from us either, and just setting up like antennas or point-to-point wireless, because seriously, it's like it'd almost be easier to do that. And then the other issue, going back to AT&T, so AT&T, I just said we just got a brand new cell tower put in, brand new. Once it was finally up and going and all the contracts and all that stuff was fixed and figured out, and who was going to be doing what, because you know how everything's red tape. Well, Verizon went ahead and got their antennas up on the tower, like, oh yay, and you know, that's great. We were told it was going to be Verizon and AT&T both had bought tower space. Oh, there's some more fun with this story. So, again, the joys of living in rural America. So Verizon went ahead and they put their antennas up on the Springville tower. Awesome. I have Verizon cell service because unfortunately my T-Mobile wouldn't work out here because there wasn't any antennas to bounce off of at my house, and it was stupid to keep cell service I couldn't use. T-Mobile tends to piggyback off of AT&T a lot of the time, so because there was nothing, that's where we went with them. So at least now I got really good 4G, you know, between the house and most of the area is covered. There's still hiccups because, you know, we have mountains and stuff. But anyway, at least I have better cell service. Okay, that's awesome. That's great. Well, we've been trying to give AT&T the benefit of the doubt because that's who we have for our landline, our home line. Well, not really a landline. We have them internet only. The only people that would ever call me was the I'm calling from Windows scammers. Those are joy too. Those are always fun. So we just canceled the landline because there was no point because we had cell phones. So that's what we dealt with that. You're being naughty. I'm waiting for it to pick back up again. But so we canceled that. Verizon put their antennas in. Okay, great, we got something. And we'd considered maybe getting a land-based cell modem. Well, we looked into it, and AT&T had a kind of a hush deal where if it was for home use, cellular only, it was something like $50-60 a month for 50 up and down. So that's like not bad, you know. 50, I think it was 50 to 100, and that wasn't that bad of a deal for the price. And we're like, all right, that's doable, and if we need to, you know, monitor how much data we're using, we can work around that, and we can do that. So again, we just kind of held out, going, all right, well, we'll wait a little bit, and when they get their antennas up on that tower, we'll make sure that deal is still doable, because they've been saying for 2 years now, well, we're not putting any more DSL in because we're going to switch everyone over to blah blah blah. It's like, okay, well, maybe that's been their big plan all along. They're going to switch us all over to, you know, a cellular setup. But if the price point's not terrible, I can deal with that. I've got 2 more legs to make. So I'm like, all right, well, you know, again, if the pricing is decent, I'll deal with it. You know, I'll buy into it. You know, at least then, you know, I can maybe stream video again without constant hiccups. And there we go. So again, another leg, and kind of twist it a little bit and fold it and kind of do some measuring. These are back legs, so they're going to be shaped more like this. It'll make more sense when I get a little more into it. But anyway, so so the tower. So AT&T decided that they are not going to put antennas on the Springville tower, last we heard, which I'm hoping there'll be enough public outcry to change that. But right now it doesn't look like they are planning on doing anything out here, which sucks because they're effectively a monopoly in the area. They made a deal with Smithville not to come out here and run or service the area because it's their area and it's bullshit. I've been telling Smithville, we got kids that work there, that Ivy Tech, and Smithville's big with our community college. And so I've been passing the information along. I'm like, just FYI, I understand that they said that, you know, you really should, that they want to non-compete. Okay, all right, they want to non-compete. Great, you can have a non-compete, except that now if you are officially refusing to hook any new people up because your CO is full, which it is, there's no more hookup. You refuse to upgrade it, which means that if you don't have any more hookups and you won't hook any more people up and you don't have any spots to hook people up, how is Smithville competing with you when I've already taken yourself out of the running? So I'm hoping that when Smithville finishes with Jasper, they'll see fit to start running fiber in our area. I know Lawrence County kind of screwed themselves because the genius mayor of Bedford is more interested in, I don't know what she's doing with that money, refacing the buildings on the square than she was in putting in infrastructure. So that was the other local politics bullshit that had to be dealt with. was literally, they are $80,000. $80,000 to reface an old building. And it's something like, you pay in, what did they say? It was either 10 or 20 or something percent, and then they'd give you some other difference. But I don't know. It doesn't sound right. I'm like, you're just putting a facade up. 80 grand seems awfully expensive for just a facade. And then there's been all kinds of scandals. They moved a train station, which I don't know why they had to move this train station. There's really no reason that they couldn't. They already had parking. It already had a decent location. It wasn't. They only moved it. I don't even think they moved it a quarter of a mile. And yeah, I still can't quite figure this one out. And I guess they're going to make shops out of it. But I don't see why they couldn't have just made shops out of it in the location it was. It was like right across from Standish. It was still walking distance from where they had. I mean, seriously, it was maybe a quarter of a mile that they moved it. So it didn't really make any sense to me. It still doesn't make any sense to me. Alright, so we got, so it's front legs, back leg. So we got two front legs. We got the first back leg. Another back leg. To kind of just straighten out my fibers. Just kind of pulling them a little bit. And see, this is Minion's wool. Minion's one of my sheep that I raised from a bottle baby. So this is Minion, and my really good friend Rachel, she's got another. She live streams too. She actually crochets, and I'd given her a bag of wool one year, and then she actually brushed it. Washed it, brushed it, spun it, and then crocheted with it. It was so cool. And she stopped by and visited us last year and showed us what she made out of my sheep, which was really cool. Alright, so now we again do some twisting. Yeah, so that's the whole mess with the state of the internets in Springville. And then there's that whole question, you know, why am I doing this to myself? Why am I still staying here? I love my house and I love my animals, but I mean, it's getting kind of dumb. Especially, well, yeah, but I was going back, because she's mayor of Bedford, which kind of, unfortunately, the largest city in an area usually is the one that ends up making all the decisions for the rest of the county. And they blew off Smithville, which sucks. Smithville is a locally owned, locally started company that provides fiber drops to rural areas. And the way that their business model has been playing through is they've been starting out in the country and bringing them into the cities. So they started out in Smithville and then brought it into Bloomington. So when we lived on the outskirts of Bloomington, we had, I want to say 50, 100. I want to say that's what it was. I want to say it was I want to say it was 50, 100. I want to say 50, 100. I want to say it was like 100 down and like 50 up or something ridiculous. And pricing wasn't that terribly expensive either, considering. And it was really nice. Yeah, so we had 50, 100 in Bloomington. And pricing was decent, and just, dude, and it wasn't like FiOS. It was true fiber hookup. It was actual, you know, optical, real fiber. As I know, I think it's Comcast or Time Warner, or someone was calling it FiOS, but it was really cable, and it was, I don't know. There was some wordplay trickery that had been going on, but this was actual fiber drop. And it was great. And we didn't realize what the area was, so we didn't. so we were told we had high-speed internet when we moved here. So we had checked it, and we had called the providers in the area, and we'd asked and go, okay, we're looking to buy this house. What's connectivity? Because that was a question that went in, and we were promised up and down. Oh yeah, you're fine. You'll have, you know, we were told that we'd either be able to get Uverse or the Xfinity package, and that shouldn't be a problem. And then when we went to actually hook it up, they're like, oh no, you don't get that. You're just too far, or you're just whatever. And I'm like, you sons of bitches. So yeah, that sucked. Just don't trust anybody. That was the one lesson that we learned. Just don't trust anybody. I don't know. How's everyone else doing today? Because I can talk a blue streak about local internet drama. So the more stabby that I do it, the tighter that those hairs are locking in there, and the stiffer this gets. So the more formed it is. And so right now, because these are legs, I want them to be more dense. So I'm trying really hard to get this good and dense. And then once the base is formed, I'm going to go ahead and start adding more colored wool to it. And this one will probably be a $20 or $25 one. I usually figure price-wise they cost about $10 an hour to make, give or take. So we're actually going into about an hour on this. And then I'll make sure there's plenty of detail work. So that's why the colored ones usually cost a little bit more, is they take a little bit longer because I'm adding other layers to it. If I just do them straight white, I'm not having to worry as much. And what I'm doing now is I'm scooping that hair over. See, I'm kind of folding it over to lock it in, so it helps kind of shape it. So that's what. And I got some time to kill. I got Kidlet doesn't get off the bus until a little bit later, which is cool. I mean, for those of you that hadn't heard, anyone else that's watching, is we officially adopted our daughter. And I probably won't be posting very many videos or pictures of her. I think we did one on Facebook. That's going to be probably about it. Alright, so now we have two pretty even back legs, two pretty even front legs, and enough extra felting material, extra wool there to be able to work with them. So I'm going to start doing is attaching. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay it down here, and I'm just going to start. I like going around the edges. That's how I attach the legs, is I just kind of start working them around the edges. And getting them right in there. So there we go. Yeah, the nice thing about felting is it's pretty relaxing. Alright, now we've got that started. Like I said, it kind of builds, so it'll keep right on building. I'm going to go around this bottom bit And I'm going to take a little extra wool here and just pull a couple of small pieces off. And so now I've pulled a few small spots off, and there's a little bit of fluff in there. So hay, I'm going to clear that hay out. Alright. Just going to kind of lay that in there. You can see I'm kind of putting it right in there, kind of like that armpit area. Go back to my needle. Oof, oof. And I'm going to start tying this in. So, using a bit of felting, just going to go ahead and start tying those fibers in. This is basically the technique I was using to make Adrian's beard. Was I actually had some sheep's wool that was about the same color, and I was actually using the wool to tie the fibers in. Alright, so now we're just going to go make sure those are good and tied in on the first leg. And I'm going to go back and do some more refining on this again later. But you really want to be careful when I stab myself. You really want to make sure that you're getting enough fibers tied in so that it's locked. You want things locked. Go ahead and tweet this out again. I should probably throw it on my tumbler. I have a tumbler, it's exciting. Ugh, there's floofies everywhere. So many floofies. Yeah, screw it. I'll back into the tumbler. Come on, you know you wanna. Everyone loves felting. Felting is fun. That is kind of a big thing right now. Is I just need 70 more people to subscribe to my channel, and I'm going to try to do a lot more videos. I may have to just do them offline and let them upload overnight. Live streaming is more fun though, because then you can get instant feedback if people want to say hi, and I like talking to people because it gets kind of lonely here. It really does. Felting, needle felting, sheep, wool, art, crafts, post. What? The URL is being weird. How is the URL being weird? That's awesome. It said it was being weird. So dumb. Just post it to Tumblr. Why is this being difficult? Huh. Strangeness. That's fine though. But that's one of the things I've always enjoyed, because if you do get the live streams, then you have a chance to actually talk to people. Because most of my day is spent just chores and running around, and I'm kind of taking a couple hours today to play catch up because I'm getting into my crafting season, which, you know, hubby needs to understand sometimes. Is this is the one time a year that, you know, oh, there's my foot. This is the one time a year that I actually get to do some projects to make a little extra cash. Anyways, I want to balance out, make sure they're about where they need to be. So for the legs, making sure that they're approximately even, and then start stabbing in the shoulders, and I'll use that excess from the other side to blend it in. But yeah, but I've you know, I enjoy doing this stuff. This is fun stuff. It's fun stuff, and it's, you know, occasionally I get paid for it, which is even, I get both. But this time of year I do felting is kind of a new thing. I've only really picked this up within like the last year and a half, and I do like doing it because it's relaxing. But some of the other stuff is, a lot of times I will go ahead and live stream art, like drawing stuff, which I might do that in a minute. I've done live streams for paintings, and I wish I had more bandwidth. All I want for Christmas is a fast internet, fast internet, fast internet. All I want for Christmas is some fast internet, and then I'd have a Merry Christmas. It seems so long since I could play any raid and not have to lag out. My poor dwarf is not geared yet, 'cause I'm always getting logged out. All I want for Christmas is some fast internet, fast internet, fast internet. Please, if I could only have some fast internet, then I would have a Merry Christmas. It looks like a turtle. Come join me. Yeah. Stabby's, oh, I lost, there it is. So stabby is fun though. I'm stabbing this little sheep. It's one of the few things you can stab and actually bring it to life. Okay, now I get to put the back legs on. I tried making felted stuff for Hackers for Charity auction one year at DerbyCon, and Quadling just made fun of me. It didn't go very well. I was actually really sad because there's like so much work that went into this, and I put one of my colored felted ones in. I think it went for like $2. No, it didn't. It didn't even go for $2. It went for $2, and then someone paid for it in foreign money. Was it Moroccan? I don't know. It was like a Moroccan or Egyptian or something, and they paid for it in foreign money, and then they auctioned off the foreign money, and the foreign money went for more than my little sheep did. Oh well. I won't put any more sheep, and I won't put any more pan-felted anything in the Hackers for Charity auctions, because it just, that made me sad. A lot of work into that. I figured that you guys would have liked it because, you know, we do Wall of Sheep at DEF CON and figured it'd be kind of like a fun little inside joke. No. I'm surprised there's not more people watching to see how long it takes until I start stabbing myself. It's like you guys have seen them do the thing. That's not, it's a Sharpie needle. It's sharp. But yeah. That's not a bad idea, though. I don't know. What would most common password of the year be? Should we put, like, God on the side of the sheep? That would be interesting. I say maybe if I felted a Snorty, maybe that's what I should do. I should like make a felt Snorty. I could probably still do that with this if I really wanted to. Give some reference. I'm bringing Carl next year. That's definitely happening. Totally gonna bring Carl. It's best rooster. I should do a felt Snorty. I think I make you into a Snorty still. I'll finish you up as a sheep or a dog or something. It's got really long legs for a sheep. It's almost dog long legs. Almost like a polar bear. I'm not sure what this one wants to be because it's almost too long in the leg. Almost looks more like a polar bear. See, we're already standing up. It's already standing up. Oh, it'll be a polar bear then if you want. This can be a polar bear very quickly. That's why I like doing the base frames, because if you just kind of do a generic base frame, you can kind of reshape them from there. Watch, polar bear just needs a slightly longer neck, so we're gonna do that, and then. Either way, we can make it into a polar bear pretty quick, though. Rawr. We had our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, and our DM apparently has a thing for polar bears, and so almost every single session we were getting attacked by random polar bears, like, off the distance, and, like, eaten and chased, and rawr. So that became kind of like our running gag, was trying to avoid getting eaten by polar bears in our campaign. Polar bears eat fish, but they're also opportunists. So a polar bear will eat seals and fish and dogs and people. And if there are penguins in the North Pole, they'd probably eat them too. But there's not penguins in the North Pole. But no, polar bears are actually a very opportunistic animal. So they'll... I think Fat Cat's thinking about coming up here to visit. I hear Fat Cat. We had this barn cat that we took in a couple months ago now. And, you know, she's a barn cat. She's just a mouser. And, for the longest time, she'd be out there and, you know, not be particularly interested in anybody. And then one day, she decided to make friends with Matthew. I'm like, alright, well, she's making friends with you now, so alright, she's your buddy. And we're like, alright, well, she's a just outside barn cat, you know, we'll just let her be. And she got a little more friendly, and then, yeah, Emily knows I'm talking about her. She's gonna come up. She's so silly. So she got a little more friendly. And then one night we had these really bad thunderstorms. Really bad. So I'm like, I'm not leaving you outside. And the coyotes are really, really thick this year. So I'm like, no, you come here. So I got her to come over and I scooped her up and I brought her in the house. And she was just chill. Totally chill had acted like a semi-feral barn cat. And she's like, oh, I'm good. I'm in the house. It's all good. I live here now. I go, okay. And for the first couple of days, she was kind of in and out. It was kitten season, and, you know, we started hearing the tomcats making all kinds of noise, and I'm like, I don't want to leave her out there because we don't know if she's spayed, and we don't know anything about her history, and, you know, she's going to end up getting in a fight or whatever. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm taking her in. I'd warned him, because at the same time, I had also just trapped this mama cat and her 2 kittens that I needed to hold for a little bit because the shelter was full. So I'm like, well, you know, I can't drop them off at the shelter yet because they don't have any room for them, and I told them I'd hold them for about a month or so until, you know, kitten season slowed down and they had more room for them. Alright, so I had that. And I had her, and I brought her up there and got her scanned for a chip. We couldn't find anything. You know, and she didn't really fit the bill with anything from the area that was missing, and no one seemed to be looking for her. So I'm like, well, you get to stay in the house then, because I don't want to risk you getting pregnant and having more babies because everyone's overloaded so badly right now. So we held her in for at least 2 months just to verify that she wasn't pregnant. And she's just kind of become our next cat. So I need to... Gorgeous cat. And she's really sweet, really friendly, very healthy. Too healthy now, unfortunately. She's a pig. She's just a fat cat. So Fat Cat's having a blast down there playing with Sunny, who really needed someone closer to his age to play with anyway. Again, I'm just trying to pull those hairs where they're going to be a better spot to shape things. Alright, so that's not a bad little frame. And now we start I start the detail work. Add stuff where it needs to be added to fill things out and smooth out a bit. So once you get the basic frame done, and this I'm don't have any reference in front of me for what I'm doing. I'm just kind of feeling this out right now. You can go ahead and start filling in spots and smoothing areas out. And apparently this is going to be a polar bear now. A little too leggy to be a sheep. And I'm gonna start sculpting that muzzle a little bit too. I'm afraid to say anything, but I'm surprised I haven't stabbed myself yet, because usually I would have done that by now. When you get cats spayed, it is not unusual for them to have kind of like an extra skin, like a spay pouch. Stormy's got that, and I remember I used to be on the Pet Finder forums a long time ago. You know, and it, oh my god, the place was horrifically clicky. But we had a bunch of people looking at my cat going, "Oh my god, she's so fat." Like, no, she's like literally not. She's like skin and bones. She's just like one of those very like stocky type skeletal builds. So she's not really heavy. She's just stocky. So by the time you put the fur on her, you know, she looks like she's fatter than she actually is. But I go, if you get your hands on her, you realize that she's really not. And so they were going, "Oh, you're a fat cat." I'm like, no, Stormy is not a fat cat. She's very slight. Emily is a fat cat. Actually, you see, Emily, here, kitty. Emily, kitty. See who's gonna come. They might all come. None of them might come. Like Bernie. Oh, hello, Bernie. You're not Emily. Hello, Bernie. Oh, you can all meet Bernie if you want. Come here. Bernie, come on. Come on. Hello. It failed miserably. Come here. Got you. Oh. This is Bernie. Oh. Yeah, I know, I hear you. Oh, hello. Hello. That's Bernie. Hi. Hi, Bernie. Bernie, we lost Charlie back in the end of March, and we've been looking for one of our dogs ever since. I think someone picked him up and stole him. But while we were trying to find what happened to him, we'd end up with Cole. And hi. And after in Ohio, because the people that found Cole swore up and down it was our missing dog, so I went out there to go check in, and it wasn't, but I ended up taking him home anyway because we had lost Austin passed away from congestive heart failure at the age of like 11 last October, about a year ago. And you know, I'm like, well, he had nowhere to go, and Ohio only has a 3-day stray hold, and they had done what they wanted to do, and he was in such bad shape to begin with. And I'm a sucker for schnauzers, so I took Cole home. And a couple months later, this one showed up online. Oh, there's Fat Cat, and Boots, and Sunny, and everyone else. You know, oh, you're so silly. But anyway, so this one showed up in Tennessee, and his picture looked an awful lot like Charlie. So Nightshade Mark and I ended up driving down to Tennessee right after the solar eclipse, and hello, Boots, and picked up Bernie. And the reason that he ended up being Bernie's, first off, he's from Oak Ridge, Tennessee, which is where they enrich the uranium. Come here, you can show the people. You're all healed up now. And other thing is, when they came in, and they didn't tell me this, but when he came in, he has this was all open, raw burns. So either chemical or hot water or something. So he's all healed up, and he's just about to where I can, you know, take them all to the vet and get their shots. Because you don't give them their yearly shots if they're on antibiotics, and he's finally clear of all that. So he's doing a lot better. And we end up keeping this one too, because he's a boy brat. But he's like best puppy. You think from all the messes under Bernie, he's still a good boy. So I'm gonna go put you down now. Hello, Boots. Come on. Originally wanted that. Hey, Emily, come back. Psst. Emily! No, not you, Sonny. Emily. Emily, come here, fat cat. You're not gonna come. Call me fat. Here, fat cat. Meow. Come here. Meow. Come here. You wanna come say hi? Yeah. Hello. How you doing? I don't know why Sonny wants to come here. Oh my God, you're so fat. Oh, damn it, Boots. Alright, we're not gonna be able to see Emily because Boots is a brat. Yeah, she's a big fat cat. So, hello, or come here, meow. She talks too. Oh my God, she's so funny. You have conversations with her. When she was still living outside, you could call her. When she was over at the barn, you could hear kid, and she'd come running from the other side. And it's like, I don't even know when that started, because she went from being like, you know, I'm feral cat, oh no, no one do anything with me, to all of a sudden it's like, I'm gonna come when I'm cold, I love you, I live in the house and I sleep on the bed. It's like, you know, animals are funny. I don't know what they're gonna do, but I think she figured out that she had it good here. Yeah, meow. Meow. Come here. Now they're all silly. Cole doesn't come up too much because he's kind of afraid of heights and he can't really see and hear. They don't even think he's that old, although I think he might be. But he had really he has chronic ear and eye infections. So he even with doing drops and stuff, he still doesn't. You know, he's never. I don't think he'll ever fully heal or fully recover. So he's more maintenance. But yeah, and we feel Bernie's really got Charlie's personality a lot too. So I don't know if we'll ever see Charlie again, but at least he found a good home. So. Let's see here. Make you into a polar bear. I think they got fairly low slung hips. Their back ends, they got a slightly tighter center of gravity. So we're gonna wanna I went and I sprung for a core membership on DeviantArt, so I can sell prints now of my stuff. Actually, I was going through my gallery. I got some of my better stuff is up on DeviantArt anyway. And that's also Paint 27, so if you search Paint 27, I'm on there too. But I have that that skull I did at GurCon. I posted that up for sale for prints. I gave the original to Eddie because Eddie's awesome. We got to talking. He says that he really likes, like, he collects skulls. So I know a lot of people now that collect skulls. I'm like, all right, well, if you collect skulls, I can get you skulls. I do skull stuff. Let me try to stretch you out a bit. Come here, bear. It's like, no, being mean to Mr. Bear. I know, I'm being a chiropractor. There you go, Mr. Bear. I'm gonna do some adjustments. Here you go. Oh, actually, that's not half bad. I'm happy with that. I have to make paws though in a minute. Let's put some details in. Yes. She's so silly. Now she's gonna talk to everybody. Talk to all the things. She's talking to all the things with the cat. The cat's over there. Just talking. Oh, Boots, you being nice to Kitty. All the kitties like you, Boots. Oh, hey Tim. Ah, well, that was close. Almost stabbed myself there. Oh no, that skull's awesome. I love that skull. I'll show you my other skulls. I got Darling's skull. Because the sheep that I still have that I shear, she had a half sister, and we ate that one. We kind of had to because that one had problems. She was born with a deformity, and it wasn't one of those like, oh well, if you're whatever, she can live with it. No, it was like she only had use of 3 legs, and we tried to correct it a couple of times, and it just wasn't something that would have been correctable. So when we finally butchered her and got a really good look on the inside, you could actually see that her entire rib cage was deformed. So it wasn't like just, it was, you know, it wasn't like it was just like a pulled shoulder, and I stabbed myself, or anything. It was like a major deformity. So I kept her skull. They both had horns, and so I kept her skull, and I'll probably be doing some projects with that later. But I have right now she's got LEDs and all kinds of cool stuff, and I got it hanging over my bed. And again, right now what I'm doing is I'm just adding more padding so I can shape it. I do something about the lighting in here. You can hear Cole downstairs being silly. Yeah. I'm just trying to get this kind of an even thickness. I just want to fill out that rib cage a bit more. Charged at all. Making his tail. I just took I took some of that extra and oh, sucks to be me. Okay. Sometimes that happens and you get really sad because I'm really down to one needle. No! This is my last needle. I can't fuck it up. If I fuck it up, I'm not gonna have a needle anymore. I'm gonna have to go buy more needles. I broke my needle. Now I'm gonna need more needles. I'm gonna be extra careful. This is my last one that I can remember. There's the looks a little better from the other angle. Looks better on the other camera actually. So this right here. So this is what we got so far. A little tail. Alright, I'm gonna go fix his head. So now I'm gonna do some more detail work on this head because now we know what an animal it is. I did it. I knew it was gonna happen. You can't do any of these and not end up bleeding. So I stabbed myself because I knew I was gonna stab myself. It's like how I live. It's not that bad. I'm not gonna die. Promise not. No dying. There's no dying in needle felting. I don't think there is anyway. Let's go use the other thumb. Always! Everything's made with blood, sweat, and tears. If you haven't bled for it, it's not good enough. Is this Brock? Oh, yeah, that's Brock's. Brock's is awesome. So what's cool about Brock's wool, if I can find it, is Brock is a multicolored sheep. And he has some, there it is. Brock is white, but he also has some dark patches. So he's got some of this like darker grays and blacks in his wool. So I'm going to pull some of those out to use for shading. I'm going to put the dog floofs back away. So I do dog on this one. Doggy floofs are to worry about. Oh, we're going to take some of Brock and start thinking about doing some shading areas. Yeah, Brock is my ram. He is a purebred, papered Icelandic. He is gorgeous. I have not transferred him into my name yet because it turns out you need like $120 to do that, because in order to do it you have to become a member of the Icelandic Breeders Association of Canada, and then you can become a member of the Breeders Association of North America or US or however the earth they do it, and it's like ridiculously more work than I can justify at the moment, so unfortunately. I'm going to continue to stab the eye sockets until I get their shape, and then I will fill them in with different colors. Oh, no, do not stab fingers, stab eyes. I'm going to try to get this shaped a little bit better. Roar. Okay, I want to try to see if... Making a lower draw now. No, not a voodoo polar bear, just a polar bear. No voodoo. In order for it to be a voodoo doll, I'd have to have a hair from a polar bear. Because to do voodoo correctly, you have to have something that connects it to the object that you are controlling. So no, not a voodoo polar bear. I'm stabbing myself again if I'm not careful. I'm assuming that was a fat cat jumping off of something because nobody's home. There was a loud clunk, which is most likely the noise of a very fat cat hitting the floor. Yeah, I'm talking about you, fat ass. Lord knows you weigh 3 times as much as Stormy does, and Sunny's not that much of a klutz. Get some ears in here. Need to round out that head a bit. It's not going to quite look right. Probably break for lunch soon. Meow. Meow. Don't knock that sheet down. God, cats are hilarious. I'm gonna leave off here in a minute and go get up to the bus stop. I got one ear anyway. It's the first ear. Couple more minutes and then I gotta shut this out, and I'm gonna wait for my kidlet. What's that? Oh, apparently UPS is here. Alright, well, I'm gonna go cut this short. I'm gonna leave this dude here with a needle sticking directly in his skull. And we'll come back to him in, a little bit later, maybe tomorrow. But, alright, catch you guys